actionfigureresource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.
Okay, this is from NECA, Pacific Rim Ultimate Striker Eureka. Check that out. Again, I cannot say enough about NECA's Ultimate figures. They take an existing figure that they've already done several versions of, and they refine it. And we're going to take a look at exactly what they've done. First off, look at the box art there. I mean, Pacific Rim is already replete with fantastic artwork for the movie. If you've not seen Pacific Rim, by the way, that's a must-do. That's a stick on your list straight away. 2013, came out around about the same time as Man of Steel. Everyone made a big fuss out of Man of Steel. Not enough people saw this movie. One of Guillermo del Toro's finest. The plot is enormous monsters like Godzilla called kaiju start emerging from a giant rift under the sea in the Pacific Ocean, and the human race band together to create these enormous mechs to fight them back. And Striker Eureka is the Australian mech. They're called Jaegers. So let's take him out of the box and see what he looks like. As you can see here, the box he's sort of held in. You got various accessories here, and automatically one of the first things you notice if you've already seen this figure before in the first incarnation, the detailing here on the legs and just the body. It used to be smooth. Now it's got this awesome kind of Gundam-like paneling to it. That was one of those things that always bothered me about the way they did the original figures, and now it looks like they've addressed one of the key issues. And for some of these last figures coming out, they've really just sort of polished them up to being the best that they can be. And as you can see here, the internal box art is ocean and city, to just to give a backdrop for this enormous mech, to give it some sense of scale. Good idea. Okay, now let's take a look at this guy. Now he's so tall. Whoa! He's so tall he knocks over his own box. He's so tall that he would tower over like your standard Transformers. To give you a sense of scale here, the almighty Optimus Prime, 50 feet high. This guy, Striker Eureka, 250 feet high. That means that Optimus Prime would be 1/5 his size, maybe that big. And little humans down here. This guy is the size of a skyscraper. He is enormous. Lovecraftian in his sheer scale. And let's see how much detail we can make out in here. The feet are ball jointed. There's a lot of flow to that. It's rather than just it being sort of a snap ankle. It's ball jointed so that you got swivel on the knees and hinges. Ball jointed hips. You got a jointed waist, which allows for fighting poses. Jointed arms. Just, it's all over the place. Interestingly, if you've seen the film, it seems more natural to move these guys fairly slowly, even though Striker Eureka is the fastest of the Jaegers. They move so incredibly slowly to give that sense of scale. Boom, obviously a lot more gracefully than I'm moving him here. But check out the rear there. Dad ass. You got these, just the form of the calves. Look at that. I mean, it's incredibly accurate modeling. Once again, I seem like I work for NECA. It's more just a case of that I'm very choosy about which figures I buy, and I research them diligently. And I think to myself, yep, I'm going to like this one. I watch a lot of other people's reviews. I read a lot about them, and I've been wanting a Striker Eureka for a long time. So when I found out about this Ultimate version, I was extremely chuffed and just pushed a button on it. Okay, so let's look at some of those accessories. These two rear fins go on his back, and this enormous nuclear device straps to his back as well. Those who've watched the, well, no spoilers, but you'll know exactly what this is for. Look at that. And again, fantastic detailing. And this would be the front cannons, which are rocket launchers, and that is an alternate chest, which we will attach in a minute. And freestanding missiles, which allows you to fire them out of his chest and then just trace them along the play battlefield into your nearest kaiju, which are of course also available separately. So let's attach these. Okay, so oh no, here we go. Wrong side. There's one. Yep, I can confirm those are definitely the right way around. And if you look at the hole on the back there, that'll be where this goes. It doesn't go on at the same time. It's an either-or situation. Right. So this is Striker with this device strapped to his back. Oh, there's a little bit of... Careful with that, removing the peg. It's quite delicate if you see there. As with most NECA stuff, I'm always a little bit worried. Let's try that other chest. Well, actually, that is easy as pie. That just, straight off. Bish, bash, bosh. On, and then off. Like so. So we'll, let's see. Nope. Yes. Like so. Let's attach some missiles. It's important to get the orange bits first. That's the flame trails. Look at that. Get him in the right position, and that is going to look awesome. Especially if he's got a kaiju in front of him that he can just give the full brunt of that missile attack to. Again, I watched Gundam Wing when I was a kid, so obviously this is like dream come true, seeing something like Heavy Arms on screen and just blasting with that. Look at that. Skadoosh. Both chests look fantastic. Full props to the people who put the chest thing together. That is an excellent chest. There you go. And that one too. Again, look at the detail. The little lines there all over the place. Wow. And one thing I was worried about, because it doesn't really show it that much in all the promotional material for the Ultimate Edition figure, these arm blades come scissoring out like so. Whoop. Clang and clang. Allowing him some, whoop, jeez. Again, they're a little bit delicate. It's a smidgen fiddly. I don't think this is going to get a perfect 10 from me because of the slight delicacy and fiddliness, which is ironic since this is this enormous killing machine. And so you got that kind of boxer stance, that kind of thing going on there. I think this guy needs a kaiju to fight. I really do. We'll get him one of them. See what we can work out. In terms of paint job, it's grey. If you look there, it's undisputably so. There's a little bit of shading, but not too much. And there's some slight difference on the arm detail in terms of what greys there are. But ultimately, they're restrained by what the machine on screen was painted like. In terms of posability, fantastic. Pretty much everything's posable. Little bit fiddly at times. I'm a little bit worried about this thing on his back. And these blades kind of like cross over. They're quite delicate, but at least they have them. Would have been way too easy to make them solid molded and not pop outable. So yeah, in terms of articulation, it's about as good as I could possibly hope. There's no point of him which isn't articulated. That should be, that I can think of. The head's a little stiff, little robotronic. You could turn it a little. Oh, there we go. Shut my mouth. Oh no, you can look down. You can look up. Okay, ignore that. Okay, it's because of the. If you look here, the back area. The head is not exactly mobile, but it can look down a bit and it can look around a bit. But again, that's restrictions of the actual design. I think might have been an idea to pop the head up a little bit higher to make it a bit more prominent, a bit more sort of like searching around. Wouldn't have looked quite as accurate, but it would give you a bit more sort of a sense of like, this is a thing that looks around the place, as opposed to it being like a Stack of Pentecost would say, a fixed point. Oh, I love the look at the gold on the gauntlets there. The little fingers done like that. Superb job. In terms of accessories, everything I could have wanted. You know, this actually has this wasn't there on the original version, and these were not there on the original version, so that's a huge upgrade. These guys, the fins on the back, come out way too easy. I think I'm going to have to like crush them in. Push them in there. There we go. And then really crush that in there. There we go. So there you got the fins. Okay. I'm not going to complain about the fact that if you don't put them in properly, they fall out. That seems churlish. This guy, I do worry that maybe I'll shove it in too hard at the back there, and then when I pull it out, that peg's going to be left inside. Again, that's more just me being worried. I'm going to pop this chest off and display him with the with this chest because it's totally badass. Yeah. In all honesty, probably would have appreciated more of a snap-on set of blades rather than these wobbly thingies like that. I'm actually going to take off at least half a star for that, because they seem very delicate and they don't exactly hold in place perfectly. His stance is a little tiny bit awkward, but again, I suppose he is superposable, so you can get him into something which resembles... Oof. I think I'm going to take off another half star for that, because he's got a little bit of a lean to him. So might require some fiddling about. Oh, that is pretty cool though. Yeah, but you can see what's happened with these blades here. They're already looking a bit less solid. It's more. It feels more like an Airfix kit or a model than a action figure in some ways. Which, considering the scale, actually isn't all that inappropriate. So I think he's going to look even better when you put a kaiju next to him. But I mean, I am super thrilled about this as well. I'm trying to find things to be negative about. You know, paint job could possibly be a bit more dynamic, and the poseability makes him sometimes look a bit awkward. I'm giving this guy an 8. He's exemplary of what NECA can do with Ultimate Editions, and I would absolutely love to see them do more of them for more of their classic figures. It especially would give us a chance to get hold of some figures which are now really difficult to get hold of. I'm sad to see Pacific Rim Toys finish up, but there are going to be new ones, I would imagine, with Pacific Rim 2 coming out in the next few years. I'm going to be tracking down as many of these as I can. And yeah, I give Striker Eureka an 8 out of 10. Well done, NECA. Definitely going to be getting some more kaiju. Definitely going to be getting a Gypsy Danger to go with Striker Eureka. These guys are available for $20, and you can cancel the apocalypse!
actionfigureresource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.